Who really discovered America? And what's this mysterious map? This mysterious map that thousands of people haven't solved or understood how it was drawn. You'll be amazed at what you hear. If you haven't watched the previous episode, I suggest you watch that first. Idris was very skilled at drawing, and he used this skill in the service of Islam and his research, and that's why he became one of the most prominent map makers in history. After the death of his uncle, Idris followed in his footsteps and waved the flag of Islam across the seas. Now, we can finally get to the topic of our video. The map that Idris drew has been talked about a lot because it is a map of America. In fact, it is the oldest map of America. What we can conclude from this is that Idris formally discovered America first. How? When you see the details on the map, I think you'll agree. Of course, others went before him. We proved this with solid evidence in the previous episode. But if you ask why Idris was the first, it's because Idris was the first to draw the most detailed map for both continents of America. That's why he deserves the title of the first discoverer of America. Idris wrote in detail about his American voyage in his book, Kitab-i-Bahriya, and presented his book to Suleiman the Magnificent. But it's not just this. It's astonishing and hard to believe, but you can see that Idris drew the Antarctic coast as well. What this means is that he also explored those areas. As we said in the previous episode, this map has astonished scientists and even NASA, but you can see why they would be astonished. How did he get to Antarctica in that era and with those resources? Isn't it strange? But if you look more closely at this map, you'll see dozens of interesting details. For example, you should watch the documentary that the History Channel made on this. In 1929, a historian discovered a map drawn on deerskin. It was determined that this map belonged to Idris, a Turkish admiral that lived in the 16th century. When they compared this map to other maps from that era, they saw that this map included lands that had yet not been explored. The Antarctic coast was drawn without the present-day ice cover. What's surprising is the Antarctic border was drawn without ice. It was drawn as it was millions of years ago on European and North African coasts. But the detailed drawing of Antarctica has shocked even those who support the existence of aliens, because these areas were discovered 300 years after they were drawn. If we remember that Antarctica is covered in ice a mile thick, and if we remember that it wasn't until 1958 that a machine that measured the Earth's crust existed, interestingly, a map drawn in 1531 correctly depicted the coastal borders under the ice. When topographers compared modern-day maps with Idris's map, they found that they were similar down to the finest of details. How can someone who lived in that era make such detailed drawings of newly discovered mountains and rivers? I don't know of anyone in 1531 who could fly up to the necessary elevation to draw this detailed map. How did they see the land under the ice? We know they didn't go and explore Antarctica, but they were able to somehow draw a map this detailed. The fact that the rivers and mountains were drawn in such detail is proof that this area was discovered long before the Spanish discovered it. And like we said before, upon seeing this map of Antarctica, scientists even considered the possibility of the existence of aliens. And even today, some foreign cults use this map as proof of the existence of aliens, because to create a detailed map like this, one would need dozens, if not hundreds of years. So how then did Idris draw this map? Or is there something that historians and scientists don't know or are concealing? If we keep in mind the evidence we shared in the previous episode, we can explain the possibility of how Idris was able to draw such a map in such a short period of time. The people who migrated to and lived in America, it makes more sense to think that those people helped him draw such an accurate and detailed map. What we can take away from him having drawn Antarctica so accurately is that others had explored those areas previously and transferred this knowledge to Idris. Why can't hundreds of scientists and historians accept this? And why isn't this depicted accurately in history books? Maybe they just don't want to admit that Muslims discovered America. In this video, we talked about a hero who carried out research in the name of Islam in the world. Idris. He was a committed Muslim hero who carried out research and continued as naval commander in the Ottoman fleet until the end of his days. This commander reached the end of his days at age 90 and completed his mission.